for coming. I may pull a Dabo and be a little more than my normal 2-minute opener. But as most of you know, I have a great affinity for Clemson. I really think it's a tremendous academic institution, and it's a place that I really appreciate the values that are instilled in folks here and what this place stands for. My family loves living here, and I have a lot of respect for the leadership of our university and what they're trying to do, the vision, and it's always been a place where I felt like this is a great fit. So I'm obviously extremely excited about being back as the coach. I think we're in a time where we have it's an exciting time for our future in basketball. I think we have a lot of really positive things going on within our program, and certainly in my meeting with Dan and Graham, and we had great discussion for the better part of 2.5 hours one Saturday, and really went through just all aspects of the program, to be honest with you. And I think a lot of things came out, especially from both sides, where it showed that we're doing a lot of really good things off the court. Our guys graduate. They are tremendous ambassadors of our university in terms of not only how they carry themselves on campus, but the kind of things they get involved with in the community and give back. I think our staff is extremely well liked and respected by other coaches and other people in departments that we deal with on a regular basis, whether that's compliance or admissions, housing, food services. I think our staff really conducts themselves, and we pride ourselves in doing things first class and treating people with respect and being good representatives of our university. At the same time, we have an unbelievable relationship with IPTAY, and I'm proud to say that our staff has raised $17 million or more over my time here as the head coach for things like the Swan Pavilion and the renovation of Little John. At the same time, our courtside seats there are full, and so we've been very involved. I think we've gone out and worked really hard to create this basketball culture, this basketball family, this basketball fundraising group through the course of my 7 years here that did not exist before I got here. And proud to say that courtside seat situation brings in a lot of revenue, and those folks have been passionately behind us, and that's been a big boost for us. And those seats, as well as the courtside club, the seats that are now in the new renovated Little John, will be sold out next year. And so I think when you look at some of the totality of the things that are going on off the court, I think our administrators really see that we're operating in a first-class manner, and that our coaching staff prides itself on doing things the right way, and we're doers. We're not complainers. When I got here, everybody kept telling me that, you need a new facility, but I don't know that there was anybody that, from a coaching staff standpoint, that wanted to put in the time, energy, and effort necessary to get out and knock on doors, meet with people, go play golf, have luncheons, almost serve a little bit as a politician to help make this building a reality. And I think, if you look at the administration, both from a athletic administration and also up to the president's level, there's a great appreciation for the time and energy and effort our staff has gone to do those things. On the court, I thought we made very good strides in a lot of ways this season. We played the 27th toughest schedule in the country. Our RPI finished at 68. We had 4 top 50 wins and 8 top 100 wins, which, when you compare that to the folks that were kind of in the last 8 teams in the tournament, we're right at the top or right in the middle of those categories. So I think it shows again that in a competitive standpoint, we were extremely close. We averaged 75 points a game, which is a high point for us, and I thought we played a style that people enjoyed watching this year, and showcase some of our good young talent that we have on our roster now. And the recruiting class that we're bringing in, I think, is as good as it's been. And a lot of that, again, is because of this facility and some of the things we've been able to do and show in terms of more of a commitment to basketball. So I'm proud of that. I'm really proud of the way our players, I thought our players showed great heart and character this year. There's no question we lost, I think it was 5 games by 3 points or less in the league. And there would have been a lot of teams that would have buckled under and given in, and our guys refused to do that. And we kept coming out every week and competing at a very high level, played excellent basketball. Unfortunately, we just weren't able to close out some games. And to be honest with you, when you look at all those things, we were probably 2 wins short. When I look at what we're talking about, and I've analyzed, again, the last 12 teams in the tournament, the first 4 teams out, ourselves, and what our numbers look like, and there's just a razor-thin margin between where we are and where we want to be. And we had chances, and unfortunately we couldn't close out enough games. And so because of that, we finished as a 2 seed in the NIT. But again, I don't think that tells the full story. I think our numbers show that we were, again, a very good basketball team this year, just short of our goal of making the NCAA tournament. And we need to do some things differently to get there. We got to find a way to get over the hump. And there's a bunch of things that go involved with that, and some of it involves me making more adjustments defensively. I think I've got to understand my personnel this year a little bit better. And while we had some guys that had some offensive skill sets that allowed them to be good players, I think defensively we had some liabilities and some youth that involved mistakes that we just can't make if we're going to win some of these close games. And I've got to come up with some things to help our guys be better defensively. I've got to commit more to a zone defense or an alternative defense that I think consistently I can play a bit more to help these guys. I've got to do some things like have more consistent use of a sports psychologist. We've not really had that, and in talking with Dan and talking with Dabo, we've kind of used a guy here and there, but I don't think we've had a plan for going forward how that can really improve performance of players. A consistent plan where we're teaching them how to do different things like visualization and positive self-talk, a lot of little things that go into individual improvement. I thought we had a couple guys lose confidence this year that could have been really helped by that. And so we've got to make more of a commitment to make that a reality. And I think in talking with Dan that we're going to do that. And that was something that I surely felt that could have made a difference maybe in some of these close games. At the same time, I talked to Dan, I talked to Dabo, I talked to a couple other guys that I really trust in the business, and came up with the very difficult decision that probably need to make a coaching change, and it's one of the more difficult decisions I've ever made. Mike Wienecke is not going to be with us next year, and really through no fault of anything he's done. He's an outstanding coach. He's been a great friend of mine for 15 plus years. We've been together since we were assistants at Wilmington. He came with me as an assistant coach. I hired him from Boston University, and he came with me to Wright State for 3 years, and has obviously been here for 7, and just an outstanding coach, a guy who's very talented in his work with big guys, a good game plan guy, a guy who understands scouting and how I like to do things, and has provided a lot of energy there. But at the same time, I think there are some times we need new perspective, and that's what I was encouraged to think about when I talked to some of the folks that I did. That is there a way for us to provide new perspective, maybe help in a different area that we're not getting. And is there a way to make some adjustments through staff that can benefit us going forward? And then again, looking at the totality of the program and what we've been doing here. Again, I think the margin is razor thin from where we are to where we want to be. But maybe some of these things that I'm talking about will be some things that'll help get us over the hump. Lastly, we have to figure out a way to be a little bit better late game. We lost 5 games off the top of my head, by a couple points or less. And there wasn't any one thing when you go back and look at it that was the single reason. At Virginia Tech and at Syracuse, we made defensive mistakes in the last few seconds of the game, some communication errors that cost us. Obviously in North Carolina, we missed a free throw with 4 or 5 seconds to go that probably could have iced the game, and were hurt very much on the boards. At Duke, it was more offensive in nature in that we really struggled to score in the first half of a game and got ourselves down 13 and really fought like crazy to give ourselves a chance to win it, in a wild kind of 8-second period there down the stretch. So that was a little bit of an offensive day. And then really the Florida State game at home was another game we lost by 2 that I thought, we only scored in 1 of our last 5 possessions. So that was a game where offensively we didn't finish the game in the right way. So it's kind of been a little bit of different things, a couple defensive games, a free throw and a rebounding situation, and maybe a couple games where offensively we didn't score like we needed to beat these elite teams. But again, I'm proud of the way our guys put ourselves in positions to win these difficult games, especially when we were doing it night after night after facing what arguably maybe was the best ACC in a long time. So I think we're really close. I'm excited about where we're going and who we're doing it with and how we can get there. And I'm optimistic that a few changes here in our program here in the off season is going to really help us make that jump. So I guess that's all I have. Anybody have any questions?
How soon do you hope to have a replacement for Mike in place?
I don't know yet. I'm still kind of just sifting through some things, thinking it through. A lot of different ways we can go with that, and I want to make sure that I give it its due. I want to give it clear thought, because you could go a lot of different ways with this hire, and I don't just want to do the knee-jerk reaction of somebody that I think is pretty good and bring him in here. And we've had a lot of coaching changes in my time here with a lot of guys becoming head coaches, and so I just want to give this one a little more thought for a while.
Do you envision that position being recruiting?
It could be a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously we want somebody that we feel like can help have a positive relationship with our players. It always helps if the guy has recruiting ties and can maybe help you in that way. Basketball-wise, it would be nice. Maybe it's a guy who has a completely different way of doing something. Maybe it's a guy who's could be somebody that's a head coach that has done some things differently that I admire or seen, or has a unique defense that might be able to do something to help us. So it's going to be, there's all different kinds of categories. I think it's just in totality looking at all the types of people that we would gather interest from and figure out, okay, what fits best with us and moving forward, what we think we need to do.
Do you expect the remainder of your staff to remain the same?
Yeah, I do. You never know, because the guys we have on staff are good coaches, and guys get approached all the time about other opportunities, but I feel pretty good that these guys are all here to stay.
After the last month or so, do you feel like there's more pressure on this program with how close you guys were on so many
Not
games?
really. I mean, I don't worry a lot about the outside pressures and things you can't control, because you can't control that. There's no sense in, worrying about all those things. It doesn't do you any good. There's been a little more visibility from it and what's been made of it. But again, I think some of it is because we only look at the wins and the losses. Most of the general fan and the media, it's just it's only wins and losses. And while wins and losses is certainly the most important thing in a lot of ways, and it's something that we've got to, again, I told you, I think we were 2 wins away. And, a couple years ago, I think we were 2 to 3 wins away. So like we've been there, we've been on the surface a couple of times, but again, like our foundation is strong, and I think that's what Dan saw. I think that's what people that are close to our program see. I think it's why we have such positive relationships with people in compliance, with people in admissions, with people in housing, with people in the president's office. Well, all over the campus, I think our the feeling of people have towards our staff and how we do things is we do things the right way. We're good guys that handle our business properly. I think we are good role models for our players. I think our players are excellent role models for our university and program. And so because of that, I think, when you look at the totality of it, like Dan does in the spring here, like we always do, you're just 2 wins short. And if Virginia Tech misses a shot or Syracuse misses a shot or we make a free throw, it's a completely different situation. Now, at the end of the day, we got to get those stops. We got to make those free throws. But when you look at again, the foundation of the program is very solid. We had a very good recruiting class again. I think there's a lot of things there when you were looking at things in that nature that give you strength and a good feeling about what we're doing here.
You're known as a coach who can teach that hard-nosed man-to-man defense. That's what
Yeah.
your reputation is on. So when you said more zone, what does that do and how does it help and
Well,
why?
we've played some zone. We have played some zone, and we've had a couple different zones. We've got a 2-3 that we've used a little bit, and we've had a 1-3-1 that we use in certain situations. I'm stubborn in some ways in that I don't, I believe so much in what we're doing and how we do it, and I've had so much success through my career that, we haven't had to make many adjustments from that. We adjust within our man defense a lot of different ways based on who we're playing and how we're going to play a ball screen or how we're going to play a shooter or whatever it is. But we haven't gone to that many days where we, went zone. For example, we went zone in the last 2 possessions of the South Carolina game on the road that we won. We've used our 1-3-1 periodically in some situations. I have to do a better job of being comfortable enough to get away from some of just man defense and try some other things as long as I feel like I can teach them well. And part of that is because the nature of our roster. I would say that I underestimated some of the defensive skill level of some of our younger players this year. We're not as good individual defenders as maybe we've been in the past. We're better offensive players, and because of that, we scored 75 points a game, and we played more up-tempo, and we shot quicker, and offensively, I think we were the 38th rated team in the country offensively. We didn't turn the ball over, so we were good offensively, and I made a big point through the summer of last year and well into the fall we were going to be better, that we were going to score in the 70s, we were going to play faster, we were going to simplify certain things, and we were going to be a better offensive team, and I think that showed itself out. And it's funny, I think our fans like that. Everybody likes watching that kind of basketball. Having said that, when you do play faster, sometimes you create more possessions, and then defensively you can put your team in a little more challenging situations. And what I found out a little bit is our guys need to be better defensively. That's not their identity. We've talked about this during the season, that we have a lot of guys whose identity centers around scoring. And even at times this year when we struggled offensively, some of it was because we had so many guys that felt like they could score that, we didn't always share it as much as we could. And we had a bunch of guys that could score, and that's a good thing. But I did not do a good enough job of getting our guys to completely buy into the defense is what was going to be the difference maker. And if I can't do that through some man-to-man things, I've got to do some things in other ways to make sure that that's that's the case. Now, this spring and summer, we're gonna get back to, again, a little bit more of, hey, we need to become better defensively. We're gonna spend more time on fundamental defense during this time, which is rare. Most people are working on offense in the off-season. But we're gonna spend more time defensively because we know that that's probably what kept us from making the tournament last year.